Yeah. So good evening, everyone. Ma'am Kurumjari. Welcome to another exciting talk series of our continuously ongoing science and academic talk series. Today's is the 23rd uh, science and academic talk series of PIMSA. And with us, we have our today's speaker, Dr. Melody Kshetrimayum, who is working as an assistant professor in Flem University in Pune, and is working in the Department of Humanities and Languages and Sociology. So I welcome Dr. Melody to our 23rd PIMSA talk series. And to continue further with this session, I now request our Vice President PIMSA, Dr. Puyam Sabindro, to kindly welcome our today's audiences and put forward a few points about today's talk. Over to Dr. Puyam Sabindro.
Okay, thank you, Romy. First of all, Ma'am Kurumjali, good evening to everyone present here. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to this 23rd Science and Academic Talk organized by PIMSA. Today's speaker is Dr. Melody Kshetrimayum. We're very happy, and on behalf of organizing committee, I'd like to thank Dr. Melody for sparing our valuable time to give this very interesting talk. Many of us will be benefiting from this talk, very interesting on qualitative research, which is a bit different from what normally we experimental scientists is doing kind of research. So Dr. Melody Kshetrimayum is Assistant Professor, Humanities and Languages and Sociology, Flem University, Pune. The title of the talk is Doing and Writing Qualitative Research. So qualitative research, as the name suggests, it explores on non-measurable, behind the things, why and how, which is non-quantifiable, and again, it is non-numerical data. For example, like understanding of human behavior, social science, and also like analysis of media reports, which is, as I said, is very different from normal scientific research, which is mainly dependent on the experimentally measured values and analysis. So we'd be very happy to learn from Dr. Melody's lecture today, and I also hope everyone present here will get benefit from her talk. So I request our Dr. Romy to continue the session. Thank you, Romy.
Thank you, Thomas Sabindro. Now I invite Dr. Sushila Nambram to deliver a brief bio sketch of today's speaker. Over to Dr. Sushila.
Uh, Good evening, one and all. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So today's speaker brings a wealth of experience in qualitative research grounded in social realities and interdisciplinary inquiry. Her academic journey began with UGC NET Junior and Senior Fellowship in Social Work, paving the way for her doctoral research in the Tata Institute of Social Science, Mumbai. Her work was on informal credit institutions and women in Manipur. She later served as assistant professor at Tata Institute of Social Science, where he bridged rigorous research with lived experience. Now at Flem University, as assistant professor of humanities and languages, she continues to mentor and conduct interdisciplinary work across gender, culture, and social policy. She also serves on the board of social development issues, University of Michigan, contributing to international discourse on justice and development. Today, you will gain insight into designing grounded, ethical, qualitative research, writing field based insight into publishable work, engaging with multidisciplinary methods, reflection from a career shaped by rigor and real world impact. Please join us in welcoming Dr. Melody Kshetrimayum. Over to you, Dr. Melody Kshetrimayum.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Um, yeah, thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Tamo Subindro, for giving such a nice welcome address. And thank you to all the esteemed PIMSA members for organizing this talk. Thank you, Dr. Sushidla, for giving a very kind and generous introduction. Um, I think it was a very long introduction. I wanted a very simple one. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I'd also like to thank Tamo Ragumani for tirelessly working on the talk series in organizing and arranging the speakers and the event. Thank you so much. So today's talk, I just want to share the screen. Today's talk is not specifically on one discipline, not focused on specifically one discipline, but it can be applied across social science and science disciplines. Um for the longest time, we have been comparing and finding differences between quantitative and qualitative research and equating them to um, statistical analysis and textual analysis. But to understand a real world situation or a research problem, one needs to understand the people, its context, meanings created, people's experiences, their perspectives, etc. So, in order to understand a problem, one needs an approach which is rigor enough to establish the quality of the research and flexible enough to establish adapt or to establish adaptability and responsiveness to the diversity and social complexities of the fieldwork. So qualitative research is an approach, that balances between rigor and flexibility to understand a real world situation. So I'll just share my slides. Romi, can I share the slide without
Yes,
removing
yes.
it?
Yeah, you can share it.
I can see window, but it is not. Okay,
Yeah, we can see the window.
sorry. I want to share the slide only, not the whole screen. It's the whole screen is coming.
Yeah, there will be two options when you open. There will
Yeah.
be screen and windows. So just go to the window and you'll find the, yeah, now it is
Eh,
coming.
Okay.
It is not in full presentation mode.
Okay.
Yes, now it's okay.
Yeah, so today I'll talk about doing and writing qualitative research. So in contrast to the popular belief that qualitative research is not rigor enough to establish quality of research. It is conducted within a framework that is the rigorous, that has a scientific framework. Um, just 1 minute. Just, you're able to see this.
Yes, but it's not
Yes.
in presentation mode.
Okay.
Please press F5.
Yeah, mine is a little bit different.
Now it's coming.
Sorry. Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
yes, it's working. Yeah.
Yeah. So, before understanding qualitative research, we have some basic concepts that we need to understand, such as, we frequently use the word nuanced. We frequently use the word rich data, thick description. So, by thick description, we mean detailed account of information or the data collected from the participants, which is an in-depth description of an event, of a social phenomenon, of a social reality. So qualitative research believe that reality is not separated. Reality means it may be a fact, it may be a happening, it may be a cultural practice, or an organization's management system, etc. So qualitative research believes that these realities are not independent of the context. So these are embedded within a social context, within a cultural context, or a political context. So it believes that we have to, while collecting data, we have to take into account the difference in the cultural context, the social context. So we have to describe how people's experiences are influenced by its context, and then how people's beliefs and values are influenced by the context, the culture, and how they create meaning of their daily interactions or everyday interactions between individuals, between people and the context and its environment. So qualitative research is an approach to study real world situations through people's experiences, meanings and perspectives in their own environment or context. So when we study a real world situation through qualitative research, we focus on people's experiences, the meanings that are constructed through their daily interactions, and their opinions and perspectives about a particular real world situation. So there is a close relationship between the researcher, the context, and the people. So research in quantitative research, we focus on the researcher's calculations, researcher's point of view. Now, in qualitative research, um, we believe that the uh, information or the data is co-constructed uh, between researcher and the participants in in relation to the context. So there is a close relationship between these three concepts: researcher, context, and the people. So in the people's experiences and meanings are influenced by the context, and the information that we collect are reflected by the researcher. So there is a cyclical relationship between researcher, context, and the people. And qualitative research is also a situated activity that study things in their natural settings, which means situated activity in the sense that it is not conducted independent of their natural settings. So we don't have a controlled or a separated group or a watched controlled group where we watch their actions, their behavior, because we intervene something, we initiated an intervention or a medicine. So here we watch the researchers watch them, observe them, and we conduct interviews in their natural settings, in their natural context, without disturbing their everyday interactions or everyday actions or behavior. Then we try to make sense of their actions, behaviors, and then interpret them in terms of the meanings people bring to them. Now, qualitative research has its own ontological and epistemological positions. So it believes that there are multiple realities from multiple perspectives, which means that there is no universal truth. There is no one single universal truth. There are multiple realities. Since realities are constructed based on human mind and human constructions, there are multiple realities. Okay, they may give people may give multiple perspectives based on how they perceive things. And then how do we justify our knowledge claims? We we believe that subjective evidence is obtained from participants. The truth is the knowledge is created from the participants, and we co-construct. We means the researchers. So researchers co-construct the knowledge with the participants based on the context. Now, methodological positions. The researcher uses inductive logic, studies the topic within its context, and uses an emergent design. By methodological position, we mean which approach we take. It is different from the method. Method is only part of the methodological position. So, by methodological position, we mean the approach, inductive or deductive logic. So, we start our research from the field, from the data information we collect from the participants, and then we establish the concepts, and then we relate uh, from one concept to another, from one information to another, and we identify the patterns of the relationships between these concepts, and then we develop or generate theory based on the information collected from the field. So it is a bottom up, in simple terms, we call it bottom up approach. So from uh, specific context to generalization, not the other way around. So these are some of the characteristics of qualitative research. So we have three key characteristics of qualitative research. Number one, it is inductive in nature. We have we have two approaches of studying a real world situation. One is deductive, one is inductive. By inductive, we mean ground up approach. So we start our research from the field, from the data, and then we develop theory by slowly analyzing the data, by connecting the dots, by connecting the concepts, and then forming themes. And then later on, we connect all the themes to a particular framework, and then we develop a theory. So data to from data to theory, not from theory to data. In case of deductive, uh, in simple terms, in case of quantitative approach, we start from the theory. So we have a theoretical framework, we have a hypothesis, and then we want to deduct that hypothesis, um, and then test it when we collect the data. So here we start from in qualitative research, we start from the field and then go towards theory. In quantitative research, we start from the theoretical framework or the hypothesis, and we go on to test or verify the hypothesis. So it's inductive. Qualitative research is inductive in nature. It is contextual. So contextual, as I mentioned earlier, so context may be uh, social, economic, cultural, political, etc. So any kind of environment. And apart from that, it can be any program, event also, within which we are studying the participants. So it's a setting where an action or a social phenomenon occurs is important. So the circumstances, the environment, the background where the particular real life situation happens. It is so the actions and behavior of the participants are not independent of the context. So it whatever the behavior, the perspectives, experiences, all are influenced by the context of the participants. So, for example, I have conducted one study on menstrual practices. So while studying menstrual practices, I am not only studying the menstrual practices by the girls and the women, I am also studying the contextual factors. What are the cultural beliefs uh, or beliefs and values that they have? What is their accessibility to resources? Resources here, it can be anything, access to pharmacy, access to sanitary pads, access to information, etc. And then access to facilities, water and sanitation and hygiene. So access to water, clean water, drinking water also affects the menstrual practices of girls and women. So while studying a real world situation or a research problem, we always take into account detailed information of the context. It is internship and in depth. So it means to say that we spend a lot of time, a quality times, a lot of time in the field work. We engage with participants, to understand their experiences, their practices, etc., in depth in nature. So when we go and ask them about a social phenomenon, about a practice, about a real world situation, we are not only asking yes and no questions. Okay, we are asking about their experiences, and we are also not targeting the participants from one group, one homogeneous group. We are also selecting or identifying the participants uh, from diverse backgrounds who may have diverse experiences, and then engaging them, asking them, what is their experiences, what is the process of your experience, what are the contributing factors. So we engage in the field for a longer time. uh, some qualitative research takes even for a few years, 3 4 years to complete data collection. So like for example, when we want to study an annual cultural practice, we are studying now this year, and then next year one cycle of that festival or that practice needs to be completed, because in that one cycle we need to know how people prepare for the practice, how different roles, different responsibilities are taken by the community members, how they arrange the practice, etc. So we ask different types of questions from different perspectives, from different angles, and we try to collect thick description of the data. We focus on smaller communities. We don't want big data. We want thick data, rich data. So we focus on smaller communities whom we can approach and then engage in that research setting. So since the studies are usually of small communities, they are able to be holistic and naturalist in perspective, and they can focus a great deal on the context. So this, I'll give an example in the next. Uh, yeah, Many people who have worked on health may know this particular survey, National Family Health Survey. So we uh, call it NFHS. So this is a screenshot of the cover page of the survey. It is the latest survey that was done in 1921. 2019, 2002, 2021. It was the fifth phase. So it had 131 indicators. Uh, Out of that, there is one indicator, indicator number 124. So it says that women age 15 to 24 years who use hygienic methods of protection during their menstrual period. So it actually is asking, about the use of hygienic menstrual products by women who are in the age group of 15 to 24 years. Now, in the right side, we see urban women from urban areas used. 90% of women from urban areas, use hygienic menstrual products, while only 80% in from rural areas used the hygienic menstrual products. So, what can we draw from these inferences, from these conclusions? We know that this much percentage is shown, and then this much percentage of women have used the hygienic menstrual products. So we do not know the contextual factors. We do not know why only this much percentage of women have used, or this high percentage have used. We do not know the reason. We do not know the contextual factors. We do not know their experiences. So here I am only giving the example, how only showing the percentage is not able to capture people's experiences or perspectives, adequately. It is not to say that quantitative research is incomplete or is not giving enough information. It's just an example, how certain statistics or numbers is not able to capture the contextual factors. So what if, so referring to the indicator 124, what if we collect all the data around that particular indicator? So use of hygienic menstrual products. Now we can add more aspects to it. Say, for example, cultural beliefs. Cultural beliefs also influence the use of uh, hygienic menstrual products. So in cultural beliefs, we have euphemisms. We have cultural beliefs like, don't enter temple, do not touch men's clothes, menstrual blood is impure. So all these kind of cultural beliefs also influence the use of hygienic menstrual products. And even uh, the uh, modern menstrual products like menstrual cup. So this is again, culturally not appropriate in India. So how their cultural beliefs influence the use of hygienic menstrual products is easily uh, covered by qualitative research. So the second one, gender norms. How gender norms, uh, the gender norms influence the use of hygienic menstrual products, how socioeconomic profile, how accessibility to sanitary pads. So these are some of the contextual factors that contribute to use of hygienic menstrual products. So if we collect data on cultural beliefs, we may get to hear a lot of descriptions or explanations how certain beliefs, myths, stigma, taboo about menstruation or about blood influence this particular use of menstrual products. So similarly, even menstrual preparedness. So it means that girls do not have previous knowledge about menstruation till they get their first period during their puberty period. So they do not have the previous knowledge. They do not have access to information from the family, from the school. So these kind of information, this kind of lack of information leads to, again, influence the use of hygienic menstrual products. So compared to this one, so women aged 15 to 24 years, we use hygienic methods. So we only see the percentage and the number. Now, if we have the full information, the thick description of why certain women use hygienic menstrual products or do not use hygienic menstrual products, these will give a full picture of the contextual factors that contribute to this particular usage. Now, I will not explain much about all the approaches to qualitative research, but I'll just browse through, scan through, so that we go to the real writing research, qualitative research. So we have five key approaches to qualitative research. The first one is called phenomenology. Phenomenology is one of the most common approaches used by qualitative researchers. So the focus is on the lived experiences of the participants. If we want to study a cultural practice, if we want to study a disaster, or if we want to study an organization's management system, any of these. So we focus on the lived experiences of the participants. When we say lived experiences, it is the raw experience, raw information from the participants who have encountered that particular real life situation. It is not how they get to hear from other people, or they have experiences in the past and then they have already reflected on it, or they have already interpreted some of the things. It's different from that kind of experience. So lived experiences is like uh, raw and uncategorized kind of experiences of the participants. So we focus on describing what all participants have in common as they experience the phenomenon. So it particularly focuses on individuals' experiences, lived experiences. And we also focus on getting the thick description of rich description of the data by focusing on what they experienced and how they experienced. So the description as well as the process of the experienced. Again, so the second one is ethnography. Ethnography is also one of the most common approaches researchers used. And nowadays, I get to see many students uh, use it, uh, to just to show that we have done ethnography. They spend 1 week in the field and they feel that they've done ethnography. So ethnography is an intense, in-depth process in which the researcher um, spends more time in the field. It focuses on the culture and on a culture sharing group. It focuses on the patterns of social values, behaviors, beliefs, and language of a culture sharing group. So the first one, phenomenology, focused on lived experiences of a real world situation. Here in ethnography, we focus on the shared values or patterns of values, behaviors, beliefs, and language of a group. So here the importance is on the group behavior, group beliefs, and the group languages. It may be symbols, it may be language, it may be euphemisms, anything which is related to culture. Now, it involves extended observations of the group, most often through participant observation. When we say participant observation, um, we participate in the practices. We participate in their day-to-day actions, day-to-day management of the community, or anything, any event they are doing it, we also participate in it. And the researcher is immersed in the everyday life of the people and then interviews the people. So there are two kinds of methods we use. One is the participant observation, and the second one is interview. So by staying longer time in the field, we try to understand the meanings, created by the people, by the participants, and then we try to understand the values and beliefs of a group in relation to the real world situation. What do they perceive? How they are going to conduct that or practice that particular tradition, any festival or practices, or organizing an event, or their collective behavior, or tackling disaster, tackling flood, any of these. So we try to understand their learned patterns of values. So so by culture, we also look at, by culture, we mean the values and beliefs, languages, communication, and practices. We also mean how their non-verbal communication works. How they walk, how they sit, how they carry their bodies. And then, there may be certain rules, norms, laws, and morals of that particular community. We also focus on their literature, their art, music, clothing. um, so again, coming to this, we have conducted another project in an Adivasi, in a tribal community. So there we were trying to see how women get access to the forest and how they are connected intensely with the forest, and they source their livelihood from the forest. So while doing that, and while establishing the fact that how women perceive forest. So we say water, so jal, zameen, and jungle. Jal, zameen, jungle. So how they connect with these three concepts, and we also looked at their literature, their art forms, how they draw their how they draw certain paintings on their walls, snakes, then how they all are, holding hands, and then or how they draw the tree. We interpret those things, literature and art also. So it's not only about what we see; it is also about uh, about how participants create meaning and how they perceive things, and then how they connect between the environment and the people and the community. Now, case study. So this is the third approach to qualitative research. It explores a real life contemporary bounded system or multiple bounded system over time. So when we select a case, so we have to focus on the time and the place, and we focus on one or two cases bounded by time and place. So we use the same process of collecting thick data, rich data, and nuanced data, but in a bounded time and the space. So we want to study a problem, we want to solve a problem, then we interview the participants who are bounded over time and space. So this is this research on a system bounded in space and time and embedded in a particular physical and socio-cultural context. So when we say case, it is not only one individual or one uh, organization or entity. So one individual can be considered as a case, or a group, a small group of a community, a small group of an organization can also be considered as one case. So we try to see the relationship between the environment and the participants over that are bounded over time and space. Grounded theory. Grounded theory is another an intense qualitative design in which the researcher generates a theory of a process, or action, or an interaction shaped by the views of a large number of participants. So uh, here, a little bit different from other approaches. Here we do not know what is the real situation. So we do not know much about the real world situation or the research problem here. So even when we do a literature review of this particular research, we will not do an extensive or a comprehensive literature review. We will just have a common or general understanding of what it is, where it is, and then we go and explore there. We go to the field and we engage with the participants, and then we collect the data, we interview the participants, and then we develop the concepts and try to connect the concepts, and thereby we generate a theory. So the particular purpose of this grounded theory approach is to generate a theory at the end of research. So it is grounded in the data from participants who have experienced the process or action. Now, the fifth one, narrative research. So narrative research, it focuses on an event or a series of events that are chronologically connected. So it explores a particular real life situation through the life of individuals. It explores, cultural practices, narratives, familial narratives, through the life of individuals. So it believes that in individual experiences are shaped and enacted by the social and cultural aspects of the context. So it focuses on studying one or two individuals, but gathering data through the collection of stories, reporting individual experiences, and chronologically ordering the meaning of those experiences. So it focuses on storytelling of the particular individual or individuals. So it by informally asking them, about the real life situation or the research problem, we focus on the life history of the individuals, and then focus on their storytelling, and then we explore through their storytelling about the research problem. This is an overview of the differences between the five approaches. So, the research focus of narrative research is to explore the life of an individual. In phenomenology, we understand the essence of experiences through lived experience. And then in grounded theory, we are trying to create or generate a theory based on the information or data we collect from the field. And in ethnography, we are focusing uh, on the culture sharing group, how they share beliefs and values and practices. And in case study, we are developing an in-depth description and analysis of a case or multiple cases. So the unit of analysis are, it's given here. I'll not read out. And the forms of data collection is again, since qualitative research believes in understanding experiences and perspectives, we focus on unstructured interviews. So using interviews and documents, observations, art. So we don't use structured interviews or surveys or predetermined questions. So I'll come to back to this kind of unstructured interviews in the later slides. Now we have the data collection methods. So we can divide into four kinds of data collection methods in qualitative research. So individual based, observation based, group based, and document based methods. So unstructured in-depth interview. So when we say unstructured in-depth interview, we do not have a structured set of questions, or we do not have predetermined questions. In qualitative research, we have the structured schedule. So we have 10 questions, 15 questions, 20 questions, and then we ask the same questions to all the participants. Here, unstructured interview, in-depth interview means, we will only have broad questions, And as we engage or as we interact with the participants, we may ask the broad questions only, and then in between, if we think that okay, the experience or the information is not enough or adequate, we may ask follow-up questions, we may add questions. Or if the participant is giving adequate information and additional questions, we may even not ask a second question if the first question has covered the second question. And then in addition to that, any new information emerged uh, during the interview, then we again, ask, add another question. So like this, it is unstructured, in-depth interview, and it is flexible, and we can modify or change the questions in the field. And the questions should be open-ended, neutral, sensitive, and understandable. So open-ended is like, when our questions are not directive questions. We don't, how do I say, prompt the response of the participants, but we just say, please share your experiences about this particular practice. Please share your perspectives about this. So it's neutral as well as open-ended, and we do not ask insensitive questions or personal questions in the interviews. So open-ended means it allows the participants to share about their experiences, opinions, perspectives, etc. It is not like multiple choice questions, or we have the scale type of questions. So we allow them to share what they want, and we also give a space where they don't want to tell something, and they may not share the experiences. Now, observation. So observation is a little bit of informal kind of um, way of observing things and events. So the systematic description of events, behaviors, and artifacts. People get confused what to observe uh, in the field, but uh, there is no rigid rule or instructions, how to observe an event or a group. So we only see, what and how to observe. So there are some guidelines or guiding questions, through which we can observe a group or the participants. So what is happening and why? So I'll just show this one. It's a little unclear. So when we go to the field, we have these guidelines. It is not necessary that we are observing all of these aspects. So appearance. So according to gender, what kind of clothing, what kind of appearance, what kind of cultural remarks they have, all of these, the physical appearance. So anything that might indicate membership in the group. So we can observe this physical appearance. Then verbal behavior, how do they interact with each other? Who speaks to whom and for how long? So when we see all this phrases and sentences, we often think that these are not important enough. These are not significant enough. But then, if we are studying gender, or if we are studying caste system, these aspects play a very important role. Who speaks to whom and for how long, who initiates interaction, languages of dialects spoken, tone of the voice. So, according to the dominant or the politics of dominance, these behavior may change. And then we have the physical behavior and gestures, personal space, how close persons stand to one another, human traffic, all of these are guidelines for observation method. Now we have focus group discussions. A group discussion on a particular topic organized for research purposes, used for generating information on collective views and the meanings. Focus group discussions, similar to the interview guide, interview unstructured interview, we will have broad questions, and a moderator, a facilitator will help in asking the question, organizing the group, 6 to 10 individuals or participants will come together, and then we ask the questions and we let them discuss. So it's a group discussion. So we have the broad questions, and when we ask, we will make notes of what their responses are, and then it is usually done to uh, know collective or groups perspectives about something, or to identify some participants who are knowledgeable enough to give information about my research problem. So either of these, so we can go ahead with this as the start of our research, or to collect information on a particular group, information about their collective voices. Now, document based. So this is the particularly secondary data. So the researcher does not collect the data by himself or herself. So he or she depends on secondary data that was collected by somebody else. They analyze the data. So it is usually the review paper, review, literature review, or a conceptual paper, etc. So it can be any of these. So document-based methods. So it, it tries to analyze, collect the data for in relation to arts, objects, sound, and audiovisual materials, etc. So they use any of this, and even research articles also. Sometimes we have this review papers. So review papers are usually considered as qualitative papers unless they are meta-analysis or systematic reviews. Even in systematic reviews, also we have narrative reviews, or narrative reviews that are also considered as qualitative research papers. Now, sampling methods. These are some of the assumptions of qualitative research sampling. So the qualitative researchers want to see the world through the eyes of the respondents. They also believe that in the beginning we have discussed that there are multiple realities, and we want to understand the subjective meaning given by the participants. And we also want to understand the contextual factors of the real world situation. So based on this, um, uh, the sampling methods are also non-probabilities. Means we are not looking at randomized events. We are not looking at probability, random sampling, where we look at participants from an objective point of view. So we are focusing on the subjective meaning. That's why we have the sampling methods that are based on a subjective point of view. So number one, theoretical sampling. Theoretical sampling is a process where the researcher identifies. We don't say select here. So we identify the participants uh, from as we go on data collecting the data. So we first identify some of the people who are already engaged or involved in the research problem or the research issue. We say research issue, or a social phenomenon, and then we start with some people, and then we go on to explore more people based on their knowledge, based on their engagement. And then we stop identifying the participants based on the saturation and divergence of data. So saturation is when we realize that after asking 20 people, after interviewing 20-25 people, we realize that no new data is emerging, or data becomes repetitive. So that is when we know that the data has reached saturation. Now, divergence is like when while identifying the participants, we are looking at different or diverse backgrounds to collect diverse perspectives. sometimes contrasting backgrounds. So who will give a contrasting information. Now, purposive sampling. Purposive sampling is when we set a criteria for identifying the participants. We can create our own criteria to get adequate knowledge of the research problem. So we can have in terms of age group or background or experience, we can set the criteria and then identify the problems, identify the participants based on the criteria. Convenience sampling is when it is convenient to the researcher in identifying the participants. Maybe it may be availability, it may be uh, closeness to to the researcher, any kind of convenience. So convenience sampling. It is also criticized for its informal way of uh, selecting or identifying the participants. Now, snowball sampling. Snowball sampling is a process of identifying participants from one participant to the another. So we through the participants we are only identifying the other participants. From one ball to another ball. So it's like from one participant leads to another participant, and from those two leads to four participants. So it's a snowball sampling. So we have this major sampling methods. We have other methods also. Those are not so common. So these four are commonly used in qualitative research. Data analysis. So I'll only discuss about the thematic analysis, which is commonly used in qualitative research. Um, I'll just shorten it, the process. So in thematic analysis, we have the set of data. So we accumulate the set of data. Say, for example, we have the data from 20 or 25 participants. And then we begin sorting the data, arranging the data, and then we categorize it. So we sort the data according to the patterns. So our main purpose is to see or identify the patterns of meaning, patterns of words or themes emerging in the data, and then grouping them as themes. So uh, I'll just. This is a simple way of explaining how thematic analysis looks like. I have taken this picture from Google, but I thought, this is a very simple way of explaining data, sorting the data. So we have this set of data from 25% or 25 to or 30 participants, and we have this. And we then start sorting the data. So uh, we have if we are looking at or studying indigenization or indigenous social work research, then how to build an indigenous social work research, then which kind of concepts, which kind of categories will form a part of indigenous social work, social science research. Then we start categorizing or grouping the closely related terms or phrases like this. So we have this one, and then we try to group the similar meaning words and phrases. So decolonization, drawing on both Western and local concepts, and cultural awareness. And then in the right side, we have indigenous voices, focusing on the indigenous voices, then indigenous scholars, giving authorship and ownership to indigenous scholars, and then integration of indigenous knowledge. So this is only an example. There are many other phrases which have similar meaning. So this is how we sort the data and then form themes. So this one, the framework for indigenous social science research, is the theme. So these are the codes or categories. So we have the quotes here. Decolonization is a quote. Drawing on both Western and local concepts is a quote. So indigenous voices is a quote. So by connecting all these quotes, we form the theme. Then under this, when we write up the analysis, we will have to write the explanations of this these quotes, which are here. So we have to pick up the segments and then write under this and then arrange the data. Now, trustworthiness of research. So this particular term is similar to the validity and reliability of quantitative research. So in trustworthiness, we have three terms: credibility, transferability, and dependability. So in order to establish trustworthiness, we have to explain the systematic process of collecting the data or sampling or approaching the participants. So we have to write the systematic order of all these processes, and then we have to use multiple methods. So qualitative research is being criticized for being biased. I mean, the researchers' biases are high. So, in order to reduce that, we use multiple methods. It's not only interviews, but we also use observation. We also use focus group discussions. So, these are some of the steps, to establish trustworthiness of research. And then we also provide thick and the rich description of the data. So, thick and the rich meaning so we provide the in-depth detail of the real world situation or the research problem. So when we explain or provide the thick and rich data for every data set, then we tend to reduce the biasness by seeing the patterns, by seeing the similarities and differences. And finally, we have the doctoral advisory committee who would provide objective view to the research. So we can simply say, we have to write the research process adequately and in systematic order and use of multiple methods, and also not only data collection methods, but also the sampling methods. Now, ethics of qualitative research. So by ethics, we mean, doing what is right, treating people fairly, in simple terms, and not hurting anyone. So how to do this in research? So ethics, we mean, it's a set of principles that we know what is in good or right or wrong, or allow us to identify what is bad or wrong. So we have certain methods or tools we use. Some of them are informed consent, confidentiality, anonymity. So the most common is the first two, informed consent and confidentiality. So by informed consent, we mean taking consent verbally or in written, from the participants. So in the consent, we have to tell the participants about the research objectives very clearly, and the purpose of the research and any benefits, benefits be given or not given to the participants. Usually we don't give any financial or any benefits to the participants. So we clear this in the beginning of the research. So the research objectives have to be told clearly to the participants. Sometimes, they get confused between researchers and the government officials, who will come and inspect them, and then, they expect benefits from us. So in the informed consent, both verbally and non-verbally, we have to tell them very clearly. And confidentiality. Um, so what we collect, I mean, the data or any personal information, we are not disclosing to in the data or in the research anywhere. So any data collected or any personal, say for example, informed consent may have their name if it is written. So it may be stored safely in a repository. It will not be disclosed in the papers or articles or the document or in any published forms. And all of these, so before conducting any research, we obtain approval from the research ethics boards or the IRBs, you know, and show our tools if we abide by all the rules. So regarding the informed consent, confidentiality, and anonymity. Writing qualitative research. We have two structures. The first one is IMRAD. Second one is the IBC. When we conduct research using empirical, I mean, if it is an empirical study, if we collect data from the field, we use IMRAD. But if we are using document-based or a review, we use IBC. So the structure may be introduction. So in the introduction, what do we write in qualitative research? Introduction is not only introducing your research, so it may have different parts. Usually I have, 4 to 5 components of introduction. So the first one is the generic introduction of the research issue or the research problem, general information, general introduction. Second one is a specific, how much the research problem is how affecting the population in a country or in a region or a research site. And then so background is there. Then the rationale why we are doing this research. Okay. Then we have, if we are writing a research paper, a long research paper, then we can have literature review as a separate part of separate section. Or if the research paper is a short one, it has a word limit, then we usually club combined literature review with the introduction. So literature review, and then the research gap to locate your research. And then based on the research gap, you have the research question. So you have, 4 to 5 components. So introduction of the research issue, then background, then rationale, then literature review, research gap, and the research question. Now in the methods, again, here we have 4 to 5 components again. You may change the number according to how you want to write. So the first one we write in the methods section, we have approach, qualitative approach, which approach you are using, why you are using. And then we come to the research site, rationale for you for selecting that particular research site, and then the sampling method. What kind of sampling method? What are the criterias? And the fourth one is the data collection method, which kind of method and why you are using that method, and the process, if possible, the whole process of data collection. Then the data analysis methods, which data analysis are you using? Are you using any software, etc.? And then the trustworthiness of the research. So you can tell how many which methods you have used to establish trustworthiness of the research. Then the ethical considerations, like how you take informed consent and maintained confidentiality. Now, results. In the results section, we have, unlike quantitative research, we do not use tables or statistical analysis. Here we have quotes or verbatims. We call it verbatims because it's a voice, direct voice of the participants. So we have verbatims or quotes. So we use that text and then we analyze the data. So we show the quotes in relation to the research question, and then we analyze. Then in the discussion, discussion is usually the place in where you compare your findings with with the findings of other authors to link to the wider context. So here we bring in other authors' findings so that to contextualize or to see the similarities and differences between our findings. So here we provide the context of our research. Then we have the references. So references you can use APA, Chicago, Harvard, MLA, any of this, or according to the journal guidelines. And with regards to IBC format, it is IMRAD is actually a polished way of writing IBC. So in the IBC format, we have the introduction. In the body, we write the review part. So if it is a conceptual paper or a review paper, we just say in the at the end of the introduction that this research paper is based on the secondary data, or if it is a systematic review, then we have a separate methods section just before the body section, and then we write from which online databases that you have taken the research articles, and how many papers have been selected on based on which criteria. So all those methods are written there. And then in the body, the analysis of the review, and in conclusion, whether you have answered your or responded to the research question or not. So this is the last slide, to show you, how we present the results. So in as the quote, we have this. We use board. So this is a quote taken out from my own research on menstrual practices. So we use bore well, hand pump, and river water for daily use. So then we analyze this. We explain this how girls and women have access to bore well, hand pump, and river water for daily use, and they use this water for drinking, washing, and other household chores, and how their accessibility to water affects their menstrual practices. And then here again, we have a girl who did not have any previous knowledge about menstruation. So we put the quote like this, and then we analyze this. So data in the form of text. Now, so all qualitative researchers would like to refer these two books. So one is the SAGE Handbook of Qualitative Research, and the other one is Qualitative Inquiry and Research Design, Choosing Among Five Approaches. So if anyone is interested to explore more about qualitative research, you may refer to these two books, which are available on SAGE website. And also, if you want to explore more about qualitative research, I am right now recording a course which will be released in January 2026 on Swayam platform. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Melody, for a very in-depth and insightful presentation on the topic of doing and writing qualitative research. And indeed, actually, for all of us, maximum of us are already into research, but revisiting the basics and the concepts of doing research it's a kind of rejuvenating ourselves. So it's indeed very informative and very much insightful. So now the platform is open for question and answer session. So if anyone has any question, please switch on your mic and put forward your question to our today's speaker. I can see a couple of people here. So let me pick up a first question if anyone is not. Yeah,
Yeah.
please. Yes.
Yes. So thank you, Dr. Melody. Very, very insightful your talk, and I'm very happy that you're giving the many example on how to write the qualitative research. And very useful this actually in terms of social impact and how scientific impact, how the difference between them. But finally, I found that when the paper writing is almost similar, like written in the last in your slide also show that paper writing that that the writing in the introduction and the methods, reasons, and the discussion and the conclusion are very. It is almost similar actually in terms of scientific or in terms of social also. So I very happy. This is very useful to the particularly for us and also researchers. Right. I think this is very. I think this your today your talk is very. I think that very fruitful to us. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Tamo Ragumani.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll pick up a question which is put in the chat. Actually, it's interesting. Like the reason is, Dr. Melody is presenting the research from the sociology, social sciences point of view. But we have lots of people who are doing research in STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and other branches of science. So there is a question like, which is put forward by Dr. Rajnikanta from the Wadhya Institute of Himalayan Geology, Dehradun. I appreciate your insightful presentation. To my understanding, research can be categorized as applied research, basic, or as we say, pure research, or a mix of both. So qualitative research or publication, therefore, depends on them as well. What he meant to say is the kind of categorization that we do as a researcher doing research in the STEM area. So he is asking about your view on this.
Yeah. So we have this in social sciences. We have quantitative research, qualitative research, and mixed method research. These are a different categorization. So applied research, in we have seen in disciplines like social work, where we apply our theoretical concepts in a research site, in an organization, in an NGO. Whatever we have learned or we have uh, mm, done in the classroom are applied in an NGO, in a research site. Or so basic research or pure research is what we have been doing as the norms. Otherwise, applied is used in certain applied disciplines like social work. In sociology, we have this pure research. If I don't know if it is these are uh, the terms are used in science disciplines, but in social science, then we have this quantitative, qualitative, and mixed method research.
So we also use the similarly in our the STEM research also.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is a hand raised by another audience. I couldn't get the name. It's written RBK. So can you
Okay,
put
so
your question?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, is my voice audible?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, you have presented very detailed. I'm from psychology background, and currently I'm pursuing my PhD. I'm stuck with my research. I presented my proposal for uh, mixed method, but then my guide asked me to focus more on the quantitative part. I have collected quantitative part, but I'm not satisfied with the result of quanti aspect. So I have collected some data in focus group. So I want to get some suggestion regarding that. And this is the first question. Second question is, I have collected data, a focus group in a audio record. Can you suggest any tool where I can convert the speech, the audio file into the text, and other than NVivo, which is easier for me to have analysis on this voice recording of data? Two
Okay.
questions.
Okay. So the first one is that you are not satisfied with the results of the quantitative research.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what is your question again? The first one? How can you do
Ma'am, can you
what can
suggest some? Yeah, can I change my design
okay.
into mixed method?
Yeah, mixed method is a better approach, I would say, if you would like to get an holistic understanding of your research problem. So you may have quantitative research as the dominant research or qualitative research. So there are, I think, 4 types of mixed method research. Go through all the 4 types. Usually, when quantitative research is the first research, then we will conduct conduct the research with around 90 to 100 participants, and then we will select uh, participants from that set of quantitative participants, and then we identify people who could give significant amount of information or who are knowledgeable. We can see the difference in the information that they give, a little bit deviant, a little bit different from others. You can select those participants and then go on to conduct qualitative research. Then I think you would be able to arrange properly, if so. Check the quantitative data and then check the differences and similarities between the data sets, and then identify the participants.
And the second question is regarding, I have collected some data from focus group. So can you
Yeah.
suggest some tools?
Software, I think there are software that I can't recall the name right now. So there are softwares and that could transcribe your the audio of the discussions or the interviews. Uh, let me get back to you. The name of the software I can't recall it right now. So we have done this, and even though it is not accurate information, sometimes it makes different meaning. It gives different meaning, but then it gives an overview of the interviews. So let me get back to you. You can share your email.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So, RVK, we didn't recall your name. So you just put your email ID here in the chat box, or you can contact our today's speaker through the email ID that was displayed in the starting of the presentation, or we will also share the email ID. So
Sure.
I'll take up another question, which is put forward by Dr. Dhana Kumar. He's working as a scientist in the National Geophysical Research Institute, NGRI. Can you please throw some light on the pros and cons of both qualitative and quantitative research? Shall we pursue it independently, or combination of both would be a better approach? I think this is more or less related with the earlier question that was that you have just answered.
Yeah, it is similar to the previous
Yeah.
question. So there, both research have their own pros and cons. So quantitative approach, I think even in the during the session also we have discussed that quantitative approach only gives the statistical analysis, and it is not able to capture the people's experiences, opinions, or contextual factors. That explanation of the research problem. While qualitative research cannot, while it has the advantage of explaining a certain research problem, it is unable to cover a large part of the sample, or it's not able to generalize the research findings in a large group of people. So there are pros and cons. These are only generic differences. And for pursuing your research, I feel that mixed method research is the better approach, because it will give an holistic understanding of the research problem from different angles, or different by using different approaches. The pros and cons can be taken into account, or can be taken care of by using the both the approaches.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Romy,
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Doc, yeah. Am I audible? Romy?
Yes, Tamo, loud and
Yes.
Okay.
clear.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. Thank you, Dr. Melody, for your very insightful lecture. You can say very, is one of the best lecture you have given, and we are really proud as a PIMSA member. Okay. Then I have a very small query or something. You have talk about the research methodology and the how to collect the data and the many others. So what about the plagiarism? Plagiarism. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So it is one of the very important to increase the output of the research data or you know. So do you have any ideas or can you say something about this plagiarism to increase the output of the data or how it's some of the
Okay.
in fact
Uh,
why I'm
yes.
saying these days this is a very very important if you have copied something from
Yes. Yes.
somewhere, so that is very problematic and so that's why I just want to know something from you how it's importance for the in the research.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you
please.
so much, Samo, for your question. So to reduce plagiarism, we have different methods like as simple as rephrasing the quotes or the word to word copy. So we rephrase without changing the meaning. So that is first thing we take into account as researchers. But then there are other things, other methods like you cite citations. So with the citations, you are not plagiarizing the findings or opinions or arguments of other authors. So number one is to rephrase the segments that you are taking from other research findings. And the second one is to give citations for every segment or sentences you are taking from other research articles. So if you are giving the citations, I don't feel that the uh, plagiarism issue is there. Although Turnitin and other softwares gives you high percentage, so we actually check manually again, to see the citations and references. If the citations are given, I think it is not plagiarism. It is not considered as plagiarism. So citations both in text citation as well as in the reference list, if they are complementary and they are given in both, then we are not plagiarizing the other authors.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, good.
But I have seen students come with zero plagiarism percentage. That would be unfair for the faculty to share the details. So we have seen students coming with 0% of plagiarism. They have used softwares to reduce that percentage.
Actually,
Yes.
there are many software these days. So every software will give different percentage of
Yes.
plagiarism. So that is the
Yes.
problem.
Not
So
all
there are,
softwares are accurate, Tamu. I think even Turnitin also, it'll count plagiarism percentage even if we cite or give references. So we check manually. We don't just go with the percentage that Turnitin gives. So we
okay,
check
how
manually
do you
again.
do that manually?
Manually
So how,
means just read the paper and then see if the red marks are cited properly by the students or by the
okay,
authors.
okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we do not see any uh, further questions. So maybe I would put one last, maybe this may be the last question, which is related with the ethical. So let's say we while conducting research, when we collect the data, so we have been following we follow the ethical norms by first getting the consent and getting the data as per the format or the questionnaire format, for example, that we have uh, circulated. And but at the end of the data collection, when the data are being analyzed and it's being tried to be published, so some form of violation happened. Like for example, taking the example of the biological research. So when we collect data from basically from patients, those who are working with the disease or any health related, so we anonymize the identity of the patient participant so that it doesn't come out and its identity is not disclosed. But somehow, because this research is a kind of a group work, so somehow some point of a violation of the ethics has happened, and for some of the reports has come out into the public, and then the identity of the particular person has been disclosed. So in those scenario, how uh, do you see that we deal those situations?
So, the first layer of preventing or protecting the participant's identity is you have taken the informed consent, but then you're not sharing, you're storing the informed consent in a particular repository. In the published forms, we do not use the real names. So we use pseudonyms, or we don't use the names at all. Or even the research sites, the names of the research sites are also changed in some cases, if we don't want to create any ethical issues. Not only the names of the participants, but also the name of the research sites, or the organization name. So those are not disclosed in the published forms. So these are ways of protecting the identity of the participants. Pseudonyms, or so there are some topics which are general in nature. So those we use pseudonyms. But if it is a very um, sensitive topic or theme, then we don't even use the pseudonyms, and the person's address, or the occupation. We just use the data. So that is the way we protect the identity, or we maintain confidentiality. But if in some cases, problems arise, then it is taken a legal issue. Then we take into we fight, or we confront by taking the help of legal notices. There again, in cases of legal issues, again we have to again disclose the identities or the personal informations of the participants. So if it has taken legal issue, then I think we have to disclose. There is no, so while confronting with various challenges or issues by the other parties, we have to disclose that. Otherwise, in terms of published forms, we take some of the steps that we discussed, and then so we don't disclose any personal information. We don't disclose the research site, or we just have the data, present the data.
Yeah. So it's just following a method of anonymizing it and blinding it,
Yes,
so that the
yes.
identifying information doesn't get revealed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes the researcher himself or herself do not know who has given which data, because at the time of
Yes.
collecting the data, they do not take information. Okay, this one is this particular participant has given this particular information. So these two are disconnected, and then sometimes the researcher himself or herself does not know the uh, identity.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. In the last minute, I could see hand raised by Tamas Subindro. Yeah, Tamas Subindro.
Yeah, actually, I just want to thank Dr. Melody, for giving such a nice lecture. I many of us don't know, about this qualitative research. I find it's very, very interesting because with lot of challenges because without having any instrument or measuring data, it means that like a lot of challenges. So I like to know from Dr. Melody, I mean, what are the actual difficulties in performing your experience, challenges in doing this qualitative research, your points of view.
Challenges would be very similar to those faced by the quantitative researchers also, approaching the participants and getting consent from them. And then sometimes, they expect benefits from the researchers. They feel that, we have received fund from the funding agencies, and then we are not giving it to them. So these kind of expectations and assumptions by the participants, and this results in uh, not giving the adequate data, or sometimes not available. So the approaching the participants and getting consent from them is the first difficulty. Secondly, in qualitative research, how do we cross check the data? How do we get a thick and the rich data? So we have to spend a lot of time in the field. 3 months is nothing, 5 months is nothing. So we have to spend a lot of time depending on their availability, their privacy, their dignity, or their convenient time. And you don't want to disturb their life during the livelihood. So they want to earn money. They are doing their work, and we can't interrupt them during that process. So we have to wait for their convenient time, and then we have to ask them if they are comfortable with the time and the space. Sometimes with sensitive topics, we don't even conduct the interviews in their own houses. We have to ask them where do you want to conduct the interview. So we have to take them to their convenient places, convenient time. And so this is a very time consuming process. So it's not like not generic questions, we can go and ask. So we have to sit them, we have to spend time with them, at least 40 minutes to 1 hour, and then we have to take them out. And people expect many things or assume many things, not only the participants but people who are watching us, or people who see us, they also assume things. So it is difficult. Sometimes it affects the relationship between the researcher and the participants. It delays the research process, the data collection process.
Yes, I just want to add something, Dr. Melody. In fact,
Yes.
you all are working on outside. That means outside, no, outside researcher, and we all working in the science and technologies. We are working in inside the lab. So that means indoor research. So difficulties may be, probable, most probably for you, because we are inside the lab. If we have the lab, then a machine, and the machine will give some data. But your data is collected from your what you can say, the other person, the third person. So that will create the problem. So you are right, and this is the difficulty. What I can say that I can see also.
Yes,
Okay, yeah.
yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, we will have next question from Tamo Samarendra. Tamo Samarendra. Tamo Samarendra. Yeah.
Yes, yes, Romy. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't have any more questions, but from on behalf of PIMSA, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Melody, who has given a nice and meaningful presentation today, which I can collect many informations from her presentation today. Even I take some screenshots also. This is very important because it's very relevant to me also, because we have all field and lab works together. We have to visit house to house, even sometimes in all the villages for water quality, sanitation, all these things, and the water is very important. And some parts it's almost very relevant from her presentation. Thank you very much and excellent presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Tamo.
Thank you.
Ravina
Romy,
muted, time mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. So now I let's come to we have come to the ending part of today's session. So I now request Dr. Dhanakumar to offer the vote of thanks.
A very good evening to everyone. I am Dr. Tanojum Dhankumar Singh, a peer secretary of PIMSA. I'm currently based in Hyderabad. So it is indeed a distinct pleasure to deliver a vote of thanks on behalf of PIMSA for this 23rd online science and academic talk by Dr. Melody Kshetrimayum, who also happens to be one of the most dynamic core members of PIMSA. So we are incredibly grateful to Dr. Melody for taking the time to share her knowledge and experience with us. Ma'am, your talk on doing and writing qualitative research was truly engaging, thought-provoking, and applicable to all researchers, cutting across all the disciplines. So in today's talk, you have meticulously explained the basics of qualitative research, which is led on a foundation of cyclic relationship between three key parameters. There is researcher, contacts, and people. So further, you have stressed upon the differences between the qualitative and quantitative research, citing examples from your own case studies on a highly sensitive and relevant topic like menstruation. So in today's talk, you have discussed about writing qualitative research, highlighting its key components like your introduction, objectives, method, results, and discussion and conclusion, which is common to all the researchers, I mean, irrespective of any domain. So on a personal note, I feel it is one of the most insightful and exciting talks about science and academic talk series till date, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it, even though I don't belong from social science background. So I hope everyone had a great session today. So further, I take this opportunity to thank our honorable vice presidents, Dr. Nithojam Raghumani Singh and Dr. Puyam Subindro, for their tireless efforts in organizing the PIMSA Science and Academic Talk series and welcoming today's speaker. So I extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Namram Susibala, who is also a Joint Secretary of Women Wing of PIMSA, for introducing today's speaker, and Dr. Romi for who is the Finance Secretary of PIMSA, who moderated today's session and session seamlessly and ensuring that everyone had a chance to interact with our today's speaker within a allotted time slot. So this online session wouldn't have been possible without the dedication and hard work of our technical team and active participation of all attendees. A special thanks to you all who joined us for this online talk and contributed to this session. Your presence and engagement made this event a successful one. Thanks are we hope this session has provided you with new perspectives and inspiration. Once again, thank you, Dr. Melody, for this enriching experience. We look forward to future opportunities to learn from you. Last but not the least, I would like to thank Mr. R.K. Heramani, who is the manager of PIMSA, for his efforts in coordinating the efforts from the organizers in making today's event a successful one. We'll be coming back with more exciting and engaging science and academic talks in future, and we will be updated in our social media handles. Till then, thank you everyone for thank you everyone for once again, and I hope you all see you. I hope to see you all in our next science and academic talk. Good night, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So before we close, so can we have a snap shot of today's talk? So I request everyone to also present now to switch on their video so that we can capture the moment. Yes. Yeah, so depending on the number of people, I may take 2 or 3 screenshots. So yeah, I'll take the first screenshot. Yeah, ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.